Thank you very much. I guess I am not the most senior here, but all well and good. You called upon me, and I think I should be up to the task.
Yeah.
Japa, no Japa. What I see to that is that people have been moving around the world for centuries. The railway system in the US was virtually built on Chinese labor in the early 20th century. And so many immigration all over the world. The UK, you have Indians, you have Pakistanis, you have Jamaicans, you also have Nigerians who have been doing this for many decades. So I have uncles who have been in the US for like 40 years. Even when we say our money was okay, who've been living there. I have uncles in the UK too, who've been living here as accountants for like chartered accountants for like 40 years. So at that time, the country was not even as it is today. So we could not say they ran away because things were very, very hard. So that is global mobility. Is one of the in thing about life. People move around to look for better opportunities, better career opportunities, better opportunities in life. Even within Nigeria, my father was in the army. I was born in Lagos State. I'm from Oyo State. I never came to the Southwest until I was 25. So I grew up in the Niger Delta. So even within Nigeria, it's a kind of Japa we did, which is also a lot for somebody like me. I lived in Benin, went to school in Warri, went to school in Auchi, went to school in Enugu, went to school in almost everywhere in the Niger Delta. So you can understand some of those things. So for people traveling abroad, for one thing or the other, maybe scholarship, for example, I think it's a good thing because of the international exposure you get used to. And I think whether you decide to stay there finally, which is good for you, or whatever you see it the way it is, or you come back, I think the exposure is good for us. From my own personal experience, schooling in Germany, being my master's in philosophy, policy, and economics, and my PhD now in Germany, was a life of eye-opener for me as to the kind of education available in Germany. And what I mean the kind of education is, I mean lecturer-student interactions, the facilities that are available, and the kind of relationship between mentor and the mentee that you can expect, which I think is not available in this country. But you see, why I was always thinking that I got a better mentorship in Germany, another thing happened to me again. Meeting Nigerian scholars who are actually based in Nigeria, who have interactions with Germany, my university in Germany. And I think I got better mentorship from these Nigerian scholars who are based in Nigeria, but have had international exposure than I even got from my local university over there. So, but to just cut everything in short is that global movement is good for everything. It's good for the economy, it's good for life because of the exposure. And wherever your destiny is, like we Nigerians would like to say, you don't know it until you try your hand on it. Your aim might be in Nigeria, or it might be outside the country. But I think the exposure is necessary for us to be able to use those kind of knowledge gotten from abroad to build our economy, to also build our thinking. Because if you ask me at the personal note, I think some of the biggest problems we have in the country is our outlook to things. And it is not in society alone. It's also affecting us in the academia. I have had experiences with professors who will say, okay, you cannot score more than 60% in my course from the beginning. That's like an a priori position. You can't seem to understand why that should be the case. So this kind of traveling around, moving around, can probably change this kind of modal thinking of senior colleagues and other things in the academia. I think it's a good thing. Even though we have a lot of sectors like maybe medical sectors, academic sectors, I know of a university which I'm affiliated with. The economic department, 11 people have left that department in the last 2 years. So, but even those that have left about the last 2-3 years, some of them have not found their footings where they've gone. They still work many jobs over there. So the question is, what works well is neither here nor there, but how you are able to navigate all of these things and get a better outlook for yourself, your family, and how it does Nigeria well. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. This is a very wonderful opening, sir. Pardon me, I want to properly recognize your status as a Dr. Waheed Adebayo. I think I am right with that, sir. And also from what you have shared from your profile, I think you have opened up so many areas that is going to benefit us when we continue from the next round. Yes, I will call on Dr. Ogunkunle, please. Can you speak to us? Yes, sir.
Hello, Dr. Adebisi. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir. We can hear you better now.
Okay, I'm sorry, my network over here is so bad, and even my camera is not working. I'm trying to fix it as I sit, but I hope you pardon me. If it's start working, then I'll be able to switch it on.
Yeah.
So, to start with, let me first thank Dr. White that has just spoken now. Actually, he has told the same line that I would have told too, because the jackpot we are clamoring now. Jackpot is a universal issue, and jackpot is not a new thing now. Jackpot has been occurring. Jackpot has been occurring, or people has been doing jackpot for several decades uh, back. But it's just that the issue of the situation in Nigeria has really exacerbated the issue, and is now the slogan at every corner now, that japa, japa, japa. That's by the side. But when we talk about japa globally, japa is a normal phenomenon. Looking at the West, they also, even at this present stage, this person said that they are well developed, and we classify them as advanced countries, advanced nations. They do JAPA, because without JAPA, the world cannot integrate. Looking at his own experience, he went to Germany. When I went to Germany too in 2016, I came across people from the US. Scholars from the US, they came to Germany just to experience the knowledge in Germany, to integrate culture and ideas. Even people from Britain, England, they will come, they will learn new things, take it back to their country. And that is why you see these countries that are doing JAPA in the hold, not this recent JAPA that we are doing in Nigeria. These people that are doing JAPA, you find out that they are developing exponentially, because the knowledge they gain over there, they will bring it to their own country. They'll bring it to their own country and adapt it to their own environment and improve their country. Look at the Chinese. China, you find Chinese everywhere. There is nowhere you go to that you see, though you will not see Chinese. And the purpose is that they want to learn new things and take it back to their country for development. I don't want to call it espionage, but I think, to me, what they are doing is espionage. You get it? They are stealing ideas in form of coming to learn, coming to school, and to do some other things, and they are stealing technology, stealing ideas in a proper way, and take it back to their own country. So the issue of JAPA is a normal thing, but it is the problem that we are currently having in Nigeria that has really increased the rate of people going abroad. And the issue is now that people that are going abroad, the purpose is to learn and come back and adapt, implement, and even teach other people that are not uh, privileged to move out. But in our case now, people japa and they stay there and they don't come back again. So the issue now is, now we are now having brain drain in Nigeria. People are moving out, they go and learn, and they will not come back. So in as much as I appreciate Japa, because I've done it also, I've been to Germany, I've been to South Africa, Thailand, Serbia, Germany, but I would prefer people that are going out to learn new things, and come back to implement their idea in Nigeria. Because if you hold Japan and we do not return, that is gunpowder, seriously. Then another issue about the Japa that Dr. Wahab mentioned, and I want to really buttress is, especially in academic or in the academia, is that Japa it reorientates our idea. These are our primordial idea about, especially in academic. You mentioned someone that professors will be saying to students that you will not pass my course at the onset of the course, or if you don't call me professor, you will be victimized. These are ideas that when you go out, you do Japa, and you come back, you find out that these are primordial ideas. When I was when I was in Germany, my host was a professor. And each time we interact on the internet, by email, I will send my email to him. I'll say, Professor Deck, Professor this. He will warn me. Clement, I'm Deck. I'm not Professor, I'm Deck. I will be laughing. I would think, yeah, see this man. When I got there, the first 2 weeks rather, we almost fought on this, because it has been what I've imbibed in me. We call
Yeah,
professor this. Uh-huh. Because even if you mistakenly call the professor doctor, only
you are
uh-huh. So getting there now, and now professor this. Say, I'm not professor, call me Deck. Deck. Well, but when I now started to integrate with the Germans, and I found out even BSc students in the class, BSc students will call him by his name, Deck. Deck, come and see this. Deck. I was not wondering, this is a new orientation to me. Oh. Seriously, this is a new orientation. And also, lectures too. Their own kind of teaching is student-centered. Not our own here that it is about lecturer centered. It's about students. They streamline their teaching towards students. They are student centered teaching and learning. So these are things that when someone japa will understand. But I will prefer when we japa, then we'll come back home to implement all these ideas in our country for the development of the nation. Thank you, sir, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much. That's another wonderful entry. That's reason why it's good to have varieties in the kind of experience we are bringing to the discussion. We quickly move to high profile scholar Sahid Sokumbi. So you are welcome, sir. You can on your video because I know the place you are a better network. And something about you that I would like you to use into this very discussion is that you are the president of the Nigerian scholars in Germany. That is very interesting.
Thank you very much.
That's very interesting. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say a lot has been said actually, but the Japa syndrome in Nigeria, as we have it, honestly, for me, it has been more of a developmentalist approach to everything. But if you look at it, someone who lost a whole family as a result of insecurity in Nigeria, and the person decides to japa, how easy would it be to convince such person that, oh, give back to your home country, or, go back to your home country? That's one perspective, right? And at the same time, when people say, oh, yeah, japa, the next question is, okay, what is the plan? I always say to myself today, if all these countries were going to, if they say that, okay, yeah, it's time for you guys to go back, we are no longer tolerating immigrants, everybody would pack and go home. And that sent a message to every one of us. As much as we leave our home country to study, to explore the world, to learn, we should always understand that the world really owes nobody anything, but then we owe the world a lot, especially our home country. From my own experience, I was in the management consulting in Abuja, mainly public sector. That's what I was doing, public sector driven consulting. We had experience with the likes of TED Fund, had experience with the likes of NUC at consulting level. And when I decided to leave Nigeria and got here, I saw things from a different perspective, seeing the bridge between private and public sector. And the first thing I said to myself was, wait, do we even have in Africa or a collaboration between Nigerian universities and other African universities, the Institute for the Study of African Economy? Do we even understand our own economy? You see a lot of non-profits, you see Africa Economic Research Consortium, you see a lot of them like that. And one of these Africa Research Institute founded by the WTO DG, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala. But do we even understand the nuances of our own economy? When people leave, like Dr. Adebayo said, and Dr. Clement, when people leave for other countries, they learn, they study, right? And then they apply back. Of course, we know the reality is different in third world countries, especially when poverty is at an increasing rate. However, what I would always tell people is, when you want to japa, what is the plan? And as much as possible, I tell people, when you want to japa, it's not just plan A and plan B now. The world is so globalized that you even need to start having a plan C, if anyone would agree. And we've seen people leave the country. There's no even plan. Honestly, there's no plan. There's no plan. You see people leave the country, okay, either through studies or something, they just want to leave. You know, that's just it. So what are you coming to do? People get, they end up getting frustrated. There are people with such situations, right? There are people that once they leave the country, they draw the line, they lock the gates. But all these conversations, of course, everyone can argue and people can support it like, oh, it's as a result of the economic situation. However, I wouldn't want to like go too much because my own background is development economics. We've seen all these things. Theory is different from reality. I studied in the same university where you were a visiting scholar, Göttingen. I tell them like, see, forget all these research papers that we do. They are important. Tools are important. Scientific methods are important. But at the center of everything, we have humans making the decisions. And that is where this context of the conversation comes in. We should ask ourselves, if we decide, let everybody park and go anywhere and everything, the reality is, when it gets to the tough time, we need to make a decision whether, okay, if this japa, what do we want to make out of it? Anybody can travel out. You can travel. It's rare for one to pack his or her whole family out of the country, whether we like it or not. It's probably not so possible for everyone to do that. And these are the questions I always look at, like, okay, as much as we travel around, study, learn, settle in some other countries, the next question is, what do we want to do, you know, for our home country, even where we are as well, right? But we know the situation. So what do we want to do? How do we want to effect change in the society? And these are the conversations that we should start thinking about. And of course, I believe by as much as we proceed, we'll come to other topics. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much. That's another dimension. And yes, Pastor Scholar Ayo Kelana, I think we miss him. Maybe it's a network. He will soon join us. Yes, I think from this very introduction, we have been able to establish very few and very key important messages on JAPA, and that has really made us to actually have some satisfaction that yes, JAPA is not new. Yes, JAPA is part of life, but our concern has been mentioned by scholar Said Sokumbi that many people are just living and you just ask them for what reason, and that is where we pick up that very Japa syndrome discussion. Because when I was in Germany and I try as much as possible to meet with Nigerians living in Germany, especially those that are students, and unfortunately they conspire that that meeting shouldn't hold because they know that the aspect that I was coming from is different from the perspective by which majority of them that were not on scholarship actually came to Germany. So that discussion could not hold. And that is the major concern that I had, that I started this very conversation and hosted it. And I want to say that that testimony is coming from you, sir, from your discussion now. Yes, let's move to the next round, and I would like to properly introduce our guest, and that is from Dr. Clement Ogunkunle. He is a plant ecologist, and he works so much on anything that is dealing with ecological science. And he has been fellow to TWAS. He has been fellow to some of these very funders in the academic system. And he has mentioned the few countries that he has been able to work with top scientists on the area where he is specialized. And also, yes, Scholar Waidi Adebayo happens to be DAD's fellow and scholar, and Alexandra Humboldt fellow as well. And he is a finance management expert. He has mentioned that he has worked in virtually the top high-profile sectors, and also he had almost a study of training experience in almost every part of Nigeria before he moved to UK and also Germany for a long time, where he absorbed most of his experience and even lifestyle. A lot of things he has dished out that we will learn from. Then we have scholar Said Sokumbi, a development economist. When I was actually drafting this very profile, I said, this is our own Jeffrey Sachs. And actually, I remember when we made the exchange back, I think maybe 2019 or so, when he was preparing to leave for Germany. And we have him to be the president of Nigerian Scholars in Germany. He is going to tell us about that very journey, most especially. And we have Pastor Scholar Ayo Okelano. He's one of the foremost sustainable development advocate and experts in Nigeria, and he is working with the Coalition of Civil Society of Nigeria, and he has been to so many countries, Spain, USA, UK, and all preaching that very good school of scholastic and also fellowship in that very system. So I think we have lost him again. He just came up now, but we have we don't have him again. And we have our audience from different backgrounds, students, professionals, experts, and also the elderly ones that want to learn from our various discussions. So thank you so much for this very brief profiling of our guests. And we move to the next stage now. Yes, your scholarship and fellowship journey and experience. Can you share with us? Let me start now from I think from in reverse order from a scholar Said Sokumbi. Let's start from you. Your journey, scholarship, and fellowship experience. Yes.
Yeah. On the contrary, I wasn't a scholarship student when I came to Germany. So it was more like
okay.
Yeah, I realized that to be eligible for the DAT scholar, you must be coming towards the winter period, and I couldn't just wait. We just concluded was it election or so, 2019, thereabout? I knew there was a lot of campaign. I just decided like, okay, why not? If not, it's high time the degree is overdue to be pursued. And what motivated me actually to pursue development economics in 2018, I was involved, I would say, in political scene. So to an extent, traveled around Nigeria, I would say roughly out of 36 states, been to 28, and I saw things from a different perspective entirely. I saw that we had not just potentials, but then we had a lot we could explore as a people. And I felt like, okay, it has always been development economics, so it's time to just pursue this thing, and I left. And on getting to Germany, it's been interesting, learning from different people, getting to see the work of Amartya Sen, especially when you're looking at poverty, getting Banejre, Esther Duflo, and all these people. These are the people that they set the standard when it comes to development field. And then I joined the Nigerian Scholars in Germany, which was a very broad body of scholars in Germany. And I would say it's been a mixture of experience, honestly. You see people coming from different areas, different ideologies entirely. But one thing I've realized is when people get here, scholars, fellows, we try as much as possible to learn. However, one thing which is more like a disconnect is, for instance, let's talk about that scholars. Yeah, when you're done, they expect you to be back to your home country and stuff. But today, I believe that's not the way it is now, at least at master's level. People from here get into other things. And the reality is, I want to believe even dad knows, like, okay, most of scholars wouldn't want to go back to nothing, right? And what we now make of this scholarship, fellowship, and a career trajectory is what we now see as like the next big thing. So it's I would say it's been a mixture of journey for me. However, I see learning as an opportunity for every one of us. And I really wish Nigerian universities can up the ante. Nothing stops us from having partnership. This exchange shouldn't be at scholarship level or fellowship level or visiting fellow. It shouldn't be at that level. We should be at the level whereby even bachelor students, PTDF, TED Fund, these are the things we should be looking at. Even students should be availed of the opportunity to have this cross-fertilization of ideas. The reality is, there were tools when I got here that I was exposed to. I have never used these tools in Nigeria. And most people find it difficult to integrate. Fine, we know Nigeria education system, to me, I still believe is one of the best, honestly. No matter how much, perhaps we are just very tough people. If that's what some people would say, I completely agree. But Nigerians are smart. I've seen a lot of scholars. I've seen a lot of fellows doing great. I have colleagues we study together. They're in World Bank. I have colleagues we study together. They're in Research Institute. Some of them are in GIZ. These are Nigerians doing great things. And the missing gap for us now, which I believe now is like those that are at home looking for these scholarship opportunities and those that have gone through the process. I had a few guys that I mentored to get that scholarship at my university. And it was successful. He got it in like towards completion of his program now. So the gap now is, okay, how do we bridge this gap of, okay, we have some that wants to take this path. We have people that have gone through that path. And largely, I see this mentorship missing. So I will just leave it at that.
Wow, thank you so much. And I think Dr. Adebayo has mentioned something like that. And that will be one of our focus in the next session the new episode we want to create, mentorship and mentees, and what are the roles of the I think they call them high-profile scholars or professors or something. We create something around that. But let me quickly welcome and also take comments, the opening comments, and also what we are talking now about the scholarship and the fellowship journey from Pastor High Scholar Ayo Okelana. We meet you in the first place, and we don't know your network. We don't know what is. Pastor Ayo Okelana, yes, you can have the floor now, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon, everyone. Yes, I'm sorry I stepped out. The network did the job again. I had to quickly pick my laptop to see what I can do. I was on my phone. I don't know what happened. The phone just went off. I said,
Sorry about that.
what is this? Anyway, I'm very sorry. Amayo Okelano. I have listened to, I think, 2.5 speakers. Yes, I met is it Dr. Said while he started talking, and that was when the service threw me out. It's wonderful talking about Japa issue. Sorry, I'm not putting on my camera. I'm afraid. I don't know if it will
The
show.
network, may not be showing. Yeah.
Okay. Now I listened to those who have spoken, and I really appreciate, and I'm actually in line with them. Even though presently we are now having 2 schools of thought, I want to align with both. Those who believe Japa is okay, I think that's the last speaker, and the first 2 who believe, let's come back home. Oh. Anyway, with the challenges we have in Nigeria, imagine the cashless situation we have now. I mean, if you are in any part of the world, for goodness sake, and you cannot, handle cash, you should be able to transfer cash. But the situation we have now, in fact, my wife went to the market today, she can't buy, I don't know what she could buy. Because the market women said, ni bank account, ni bitele sanwosi. For crying out aloud, nítorí Ọlọ́run, in any sane society, you will see common shop on the road could have a QR code where you could just scan and pay your money and go. Those are saner societies. So when we talk about Japa, let's be frank, Japa is actually not academic. I could talk a little more for the United Kingdom. Japa is not about academic. Many of them are, they will collect their cars, they will collect their admission, they will enter the school, they will Japa from the school. How about that? And that is why you see that when Rusat came in, the new prime minister, he said, and they had to go, the Home Office had to go and make a particular research. And they said, Kilo de Nigeria. Why is it, this is every one of you are here? You are here with your family, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. Say, what shall we do? See, the situation is, it's not all the Japa stuff, it's not academic. So people get into the school, they pay the 1K pounds or the 3K pounds or 2K pounds, and they just leave. Once they are able to have a way, that is share, they Japa into the system. The school cannot even trace them. Of course, that's a lie. The school can trace them if they want to, but do they have your time? You see, so these are realities we need to look at when we're talking about Japa. We're talking about network, talking about this and that. So for me, it's good to let's develop Nigeria. But those who are in charge of Nigeria, excuse me, sir, are they interested in Nigeria? That is the point we need to look at. The people we're talking about, the younger generation we're looking into. Okay, we're talking about career paths. I don't know if that is the stage we are now. Career path, look at it. Look at various career paths that people could have. You could be talking about, okay, maybe it is knowledge-based, though, skill-based, though, or entrepreneurship-based, though, freelance, and the rest of all of those paths. But let's be sincere. Nigerians are smart, yes. But how many Nigerians are actually pursuing knowledge when it comes to career paths? Everybody is looking for survival. How will my father be okay where he is? Those who are married, they will be sending money home. And you're going to find a lot of families, there are challenges. So the first thing people are looking at is the economic situation of their own families, their microeconomics. That how could their situation be better? How could they not be hungry? So when we look at this Diaspora thing, okay, look at we're talking about, I take courses on migration in my school. I mean, diaspora missions is one of my major courses, international missions. Now, look at it. A student was asking me, I think he came from Chad. We have students from various countries, around us, both within Africa and outside. And one was asking me the other day, he said, we're talking about brain drain. What is happening to Nigeria? I said, this is not just, brain here, because when the person who is carrying the brain is not happy, when the person who is carrying the brain is not well paid, when the person who is carrying the brain is afraid of insurgencies, is afraid that the Boko Haram are coming. Look at even Osun State, what we experienced not too long ago. That they said, I want to do Osun, and they are in this place, so they are doing this, so they are doing that. People are scared. So what are we talking about? See, the situation in the country is such that nobody wants to come back if they go. Look at my brother just spoke about dad. I don't know, so many of my younger ones, friends who have had opportunity for that program. But very few will come back. They will prefer to do whatever they are doing there, stay 1 or 2 months or 1 year and use that word again, Diaspora, another part of the world. Why? Because they just cannot stay. And I must okay, look at what is happening to the health sector, every sector. I don't know if it was Dr. Clement who told us about a particular department or so, maybe economics department. It's not only that department. Look round. Go to AU. A woman was telling me about her husband. They were asking the husband, why are you still in Nigeria? Because everybody had gone. It was the HOD the last time, the term. They had to give him another term because there's no other person to take it away from him. Can you imagine that? Now, can you imagine what the resources that have been put in? Someone spoke about TED fund. Somebody talked about that. The other funds, we have several funds that are meant to make students go. Look at the Commonwealth Scholarship. Look at the chaplain. Look at every one of those things. They will say, just go and come back. But I won't deceive you. Once the lady goes or the husband goes and they serve that particular time, is it 4 or 5 years? The husband has started the course before the wife leaves. They pulls the wife back. And before you know it, a lot is happening. So please, when we talk about the Diaspora issue, I must be sincere with us. It is beyond the academia. It is more economic. And more people will go because the situation we have is not favorable. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. And that is the beauty of gathering people of experience together to discuss an issue like this. And very well, you have mentioned the concern we actually raised about discussing this issue, Diaspora syndrome is. And the reason why we have designed this very episode is that for economic reasons, yes, that is the most reasons, that's the most maybe prepared or profile factor for leaving the country. But beyond it, like I think scholar Saiz Shokunbi said, if you are living and you want to stay outside the country for economic reasons, beyond this, how can you be relevant? How can you develop a career for yourself? There are so many global opportunities that you can take up. And from your own experience, you can talk of so many things that you have done in your life that have added a lot of value to you, to your community, to the global space. That is the reason why we are discussing this topic now. That beyond that, you are looking for economic escape, survival. There are so many opportunities that the individuals, as many as they are, in their thousands, in their millions, there are so many opportunities that they can actually develop themselves career-wise and make a kind of a reasonable and highly impactful life and living a reasonable life without having to live at the pity of maybe taking on some many jobs because they want to survive. Because the reason why I am so concerned about this very discussion is that I have seen so many people at their age in the later adulthood, they are useless. Because the kind of they were doing when they were youth when they were average, maybe any adults, they can no longer be happy to do the job again. They are stranded, they become liability to the family, they become liability to their children, they become liability to the society. So that they have been rejected. Have good orientation that you see, career path is the best of any goal that anybody can have in life. Even if it is ordinary skill, and you training your mind and your body and your expertise in it, the more you are getting older, the more relevant you become with the society. Not to talk of because of economic reason, you are taking up a many job. When you are 40, when you are 60, you can no longer be proud that you are doing that very kind of a job. The where you travel to, they will see you as a liability. Like always, they would like to repatriate you back to your country because you are no longer useful for them. And you are even not very relevant to what you are even used to do. And that's the reason why they have created this very that. Within Japan, what are the global opportunities in both scholarship and even fellowship that even in terms of any other career where that people can think of as they are traveling out, they get that very orientation that we must do something that after several years, even at the whole day, they will still be relevant. That is what we are actually discussing against the reality that you have created for economic reason and for survival reason. And thank you so much for that infusion into the discussion. So let me go quickly to Dr. Ogunkele now. Yes, your scholarship and fellowship journey. What are your experience? Can you share with us, sir?
Okay. Hello, Dr. Adebisi.
Yes, we are with you, sir.
Okay. Thank you for the question again. Actually, I've touched some of it when I previously spoken, but I will still go back to it right now. You know, my own experience and my own pathway. My pathway then was academic because when I started this scholarship or scholastic activities, I was a doctoral student then. And so I will be able to speak in the perspective of academic or the academia environment. So then I was a doctoral student then, and when I started, I won this twice DFG to go to Germany and getting there, my orientation changed, as I said earlier on, because the experience was indeed new to me as somebody that had MSc, a BSc in Nigeria, and MSc in Nigeria. When I get there, I found out that their first orientation about life was different from hers. When I joined the academia as assistant lecturer, I joined for financial gain, for economic purpose. But when you meet, excuse me, when you meet these people and you interact with them, their life there is such a way that it seems they are comfortable, and possibly because of the system that is working for them. They are not running after economic issues, but they are running after relevance. That is just their purpose. Relevance and what they can give to the society. I'll be factual with you. Most of us in Nigeria, especially in the academia, what we are running after the economic gain that we want to have from it. So what I found out then was that they want to impact the society. Unlike us here, that we want just to, you see lecturers extorting students to have money to ride Benz 500 ml. Over there, you see a professor coming to the university on a bicycle. They will ride by. That was even my host rode a bicycle under snow for almost maybe an hour to the university. And when you got there, he has a small maybe toilet or restroom. He changed his clothes, take a shower, change, and enter the classroom. You get it? So their life there is such a way that they are comfortable with what they have. And that is why I think they are living longer than us here. Their life expectancy is so high than ours. Then another issue is that, as I said earlier on, my experience through all my JAPA, even apart from the experience in the Western world, even in Asia too, in when I was in Thailand, was that their students is their priority. Their students is their priority. They believe that what they impart into the students is what the society will get back. Unlike ours here, that from the onset, a student that you don't like, you will have told that person, you in my class, you cannot make it. If you pass, you manage to have 45. These are issues that even it is criminal over there. Even it is criminal. So, JAPA to me, in the aspect of academia, is good, and it has really broadened my understanding and my horizon. And in fact, I appreciate that JAPA, and that is why I'm clamoring. Though the economic situation of Nigeria is not really encouraging that people that JAPA, when they get that idea, when they get that knowledge, when they get that understanding, they should come back and implement that at home. But as somebody said, the new speaker that just spoke, that the economic situation in Nigeria is not really encouraging that. As he said too, I have somebody that went to the UK of recent for, he said, want to go to school, maybe one university in the UK. He paid, and when he gets there, he abandoned that and changed his status there, start working just for economic purpose, because the situation here is not palatable. So the paradigm of JAPA now has changed. So, and because it has changed now, maybe in the next episode of this talk, that the change has to be reflected in the talk, because JAPA now, because the new perspective that people have brought into it now, that most of our knowledge about JAPA is people going for scholarship, academic, and come back. And what now? Most of the JAPA is about economic purpose now. I want to live better. I want my family to live better. And how do I go about it? That is why most people are exploring the channel of academic schools to JAPA. So thank you so much. This is where I will stop. So I will allow other people to speak.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we are trying to touch some aspects which yes, we are going to talk about. And then lastly, I think the most experienced and the elderly person among us, Dr. Wai Adebayo. Please, sir, we would like to hear from you. What are your experiences of scholarship and fellowship journey? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Said. First of all, I am not yet a doctor. I'm just rounding up my doctorate.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay,
So,
sir.
I would start from the bottom. I would start from the top to the bottom. I am currently in Lagos, working for 21st Century Evolution as Director of Finance. And I want to start from that top because it's strange, because I was pushed from Germany. The company reached out to me in Germany and said, look, tell us what you want to work with us. And I was like, okay, what I want? Okay, this is what I want. 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 And I would make you smile a little bit. I showed that to my wife and say, okay, I wanted to ask them for this and for this and for this and for this and for this. And she was like, that's too much. I said, no way, this is my current words. And pushed it forward to them and they said, okay, we'll meet you like halfway or 3/4 of the way in. And that was what we settled for. And I've been in Lagos for the past 3 months working with them. Even though they know I'm based in Germany, I'm allowed to go back and come back or move around just to be able to get my expertise at least. So that's why I said I wanted to start from up bottom. So I think because of the train of discussion, this is very important. It is important to say this. So it is not all bleak about Nigeria. There are also big opportunities in Nigeria. People know your value. People will coach you and pay you for what you really are worth. And that's one aspect. But as for my scholarship journey, I've always been interested since a very young age. I've always been interested in intersection between politics and economics. I always feel that politics rubs off on economics. The decision makers make decisions that affect the economy, and also the economy in a way also affects the decisions of politicians. That has always been our idea. So I've always been looking for a way to do a master's or PhD in that area so as to understand the situation of Nigeria. That's my own motivation for those kind of things. And at some point in time in 2015, 2014, I was traveling the world with some group of 120 people from all over the world, from different countries all over. I was from Nigeria. We were traveling to Brussels, Tunis, South Africa, and other places for 1 year on a leadership training. So I was trying to make up my mind where to study philosophy and politics at the master's level. And I came up with the university, Wittenberg University in Germany. There was also York University in the US. There was also another university in Sweden. So when I met a lady from Germany, I said, look, I want to study this course. I am trying to make a final decision. Can you help us? Where did you get this small university in the middle of nowhere in Germany? I'm like, why did you say it's a small university in the middle of nowhere? And I was like, he said it's a crazy university. And that was the motivation for me to go to Wittenberg to study philosophy, politics, and economics. So, unlike some of the previous speakers already said, I'm a typical Nigerian. I drive for what I want. After applying and I got admitted, the embassy was asking for block accounts or scholarship letter or whatever, and I didn't have anything. I didn't have money. I wrote to the university and said, I want a scholarship to come and study with you. They said they didn't have a scholarship. And they gave me a link to other scholarships. I was looking for that scholarship, another scholarship. I didn't get one. But I was at home in September because I was supposed to go in winter. They now wrote me and said, we created a scholarship. You can apply for that. So for third world country students, and I applied and I got that scholarship. And I was already 2 years in Germany before I discovered that they had only one scholarship and 12,600 plus people applied, and I got that scholarship. So,
wow.
Yeah, because I met the guy who was like the chairman of the scholarship board in a party. So he said, "Oh, it's you," and he gave me those information. So after I got to the university on that scholarship, which was what allowed me to apply for my visa at the German embassy here in Nigeria, and I got to the university, it was then that Dad now said, "Okay, we are adding to your money." So it became a university plus Dad scholarship together, combined. So that covered my studies because my philosophy, politics, and economics master's was 2 years. That covered my 2 years of studying for that degree. And like we already said here, the outlook was very different. The classroom was 15 people in my class. And what actually got to me was that we had this format of classes. You have paper to read before a class. You must read the papers, like 2 or 3 papers for each class. If you don't read the paper, you are not allowed to talk in the class. So you read the papers, you come to the class and ask questions and give your perspective. If you have not read, you are not allowed to drag people behind. So we say that in my university as a seminar format. So the professor only moderates the whole situation. It's left for you students to say your mind. And I love that because it allowed me to say things about Nigeria, about Africa, and also to be able to bring forward all this kind of, people are from Germany, like somebody said. They have their own outlook to life. They also have their own opinion about Africa or Nigeria, as the case may be. So it was a good thing that those kind of seminar came up and you're able to say your mind and say, hey, that's not right. And that's also wrong. And I will tell you something I took away from Germany that I teach everybody in Nigeria. One question the professor asked me in one of my first class in economics was, when there is a crowd, what is the problem? A typical Nigerian answer, say when there is a crowd, the place is always rowdy, you know, the place is always rowdy and you need to do crowd control. And the guy was just shaking his head. And I asked him, did I get it wrong? He didn't say anything. It took me 6 months to understand that that was a wrong economic answer to that question. The right answer was that anytime you have a crowd, more than 2 people, there's always a free rider problem, which we call Osho free in Nigeria. So I think part of why those parts of the world are better than Nigeria is the fact that they've been able to solve the problem of free rider, in the sense that they've been able to marshal everybody's contribution in such a way that nobody can dodge the system. Nobody can hide from the system. Everybody needs to contribute their fair share, and the system can also help them when they are in need of anything. So these are some of those things I feel is missing in Nigeria. We don't pay taxes, we want good governance. We all behave. When I came back from Germany, I was always putting my feet on zebra crossing. No people have stopped for me for the past 6 years. These are educated people who refuse to stop for you on zebra crossing, and you expect the country to be better by magic. So, you know, it's some of the things I learned from that scholarship is studying economics, philosophy, and politics was that we cannot get it right until our outlook to life also change. It is one of us. I have friends who are in government today. We were always activists before fighting the government. They are not in government. Nothing has changed. So are you telling me if we change tomorrow, our attitude will not change? So these are some of the things I learned from Germany. We need to change our outlook to life. We need to understand that what goes around comes around. Comes around. And if you don't act well, other people will not act well. It is going to come back to you and bite you in the leg. So this was for my master's, and I did study. And like a typical Nigerian, let me give you something very funny. I am supposed to major in one particular area, either economics, politics, or philosophy. And I was the first person to have majored, to have graduated in that course, in that what they call it, in that degree with a two major. I have a major in global economic development and a major in philosophy and society, making it. So when I was graduating, it was a problem because they had to give me 2 certifications. So that was one. So that was one aspect. I carried in that 2 years. I carried about 165 course units instead of 120. So that was that. So it was. I didn't want to do a PhD anymore. I was so tired. But the university called me and said, at the beginning, you said you wanted to do a PhD. So are you still interested? I said, no. But they said, oh, we support you, do it. And I started my PhD in economics there. My focus is actually development economics, but I'm actually interested in issues of poverty. And like somebody said in the beginning, Amartya Sen, the human rights perspective to poverty, the multidimensional view of poverty. You know, not looking at poverty that if somebody has money in his pocket, he's not poor. There are different aspects to poverty. If somebody needs clothes and he cannot get clothes, that person is poor. If somebody needs education and he cannot get education, that person is poor. If somebody needs health and he cannot get access to health, that person is poor. If it's a woman who is supposed to be something, and even there is bad poverty, imagine there is bad poverty. That there are some women who cannot even afford to buy sanitary pads. That's not kind of poverty also. They are still using clothes. So these are some of the things I learned in Germany. And interestingly, after I started my PhD, we got the funding. We got the funding from the Alexander Humboldt Foundation to do a research in my own research area. Even though I was the baby in the group, I have the renowned Professor Evans Osabon from Covenant University. I have Dr. Romanos, I have Dr. Deshu, and I also have Dr. Sifatega. But I was the baby there, but I had an advantage. I was focusing on the cassava value chain in Nigeria. And the research funding decided to focus on the cassava value chain in Nigeria. So that was how the baby in the group became the expert in the group. So when we go to meetings and after, I've been in Nigeria doing feed trips and feed work for the past 3 years. Been to all parts of Nigeria talking to farmers in villages. I remember early last year, we were going to the northern part of Nigeria. They will kidnap you, they will kill you. We were in Benue for like a month. I have all those pictures on my blogs and website. You can see talking to farmers in Benue State, talking to farmers all over the country, cassava farmers to be precise. I'm actually finalizing 4 papers based on that field work currently. And I also brought in a new idea that why are yields low in Nigeria? Some of the ideas are like, oh, no fertilizer, they didn't use fertilizer, they didn't do proper agronomy practices and so on and so forth. But I am saying, yes, that these are problems. But the main problem is risk aversion on the part of small farmers, which is my main thesis on this particular aspect. So back to all of these things, I think my experience in Germany has been like, has raised the bar for me. My outlook to things have changed. I can think very well properly now. I don't think like a typical Nigerian, that's my opinion. Now, I think of fairness first. I think of empathy again. I also think of what is right and what is wrong, and must always try to do what is right all the time. But in Nigeria, it's always whatever goes. Me, I don't give excuses for anything. We are all hungry. We could all be kidnappers. We could all be thieves. So people have more. People are rich and they're still stealing this country's money. So there's no excuse to say people are poor and steal. No. The people who are stealing the most of Nigerian money are the richer people. So are you telling me because they are also poor? So there are no justification for all this kind of things. But I think in order to be going abroad, to bring them home and use them for our country, it could be a better country very soon. We cannot leave this country to other people to work on it. If not work, then let us deceive ourselves. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. I wanted to actually open that box, but I think you are really open up and also dressing the way I wanted not to dress it. And I think this is what actually the last leg was actually about, or is going to be about, talking about what can people do to actually explore these opportunities. And you have mentioned a whole lot of what you did, and also a key point I could see, I could quickly draw attention of our audience to, or majority of the people that will be watching this very video data, is that first of all, you have to design your way of life. You have to design what do you want. You have to design what are the vision. You have to design what do you want to do about what you want in life. And that is going to prepare you from one stage to another, from one stage to another. And that has been a very beautiful journey of you, sir. And yes, quickly, let me take a kind of yes, another perspective from what we have opened up now. Your career. What have you done and how far have you been able to achieve them? Pastor Ayo Okelano, I will start from you this time around.
Thank you very
Pastor
much.
Ayo Okelano. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, our moderator. I must appreciate the last speaker. He has really eating some points. My career, I started out in life, actually, I wanted to be a medical doctor. But along the line, I found out that I had problem with blood. I won't call it a dropout. Yes. Because I just found out that I cannot stand blood suddenly. And I can't explain that. But something kept cropping up on my mind. And what is that? I love people. I love people. I love people. Sometimes on the internet, I just say, kill everybody and I will die by myself. I just want to see people smile. I want to see people find meaning to their life. I want to see people find their career paths. I want to see people having fulfillment. So that was what led me all through. And it led me, I've been in language. I went into language anyway. From that, I had to go into social work. My postgraduate was in social work. Of course, I have a few masters, but social work particularly now. I found my feet in social work because I found out that I was able to help a lot of people when it comes to mental health issues. You know, I begin to see that, oh, people have challenges. Some people could look spiritual. You know, you see people, whether they go to mosque or they go to church, they will tie their hair, tie their head, do all of these things. But I found that a number of them are mad, but you won't know. You know, they do a lot of spiritual things, religious things, you know, but by the time they come into the counseling room and you have case work with them, you find out that these people are not well, you know. So that gave me a lot of fulfillment. That gave me a lot of fulfillment, you know, and uh it made me to keep looking for how and why are people the way they are. You know, the other time I was talking about the economy. I find out that economy, of course, is one of those things that is really eating on people. And those that is not economics, it might be the case of the job they find themselves. A number of people don't have job satisfaction. And because they don't have job satisfaction and they don't know how to opt out of this, they remain there. And then they keep having mental health issues. Now, I found out also that there are people, their home is not their job, their home is their home. You know, the Yoruba culture, for instance, does not really believe in you leaving your husband or leaving your wife for another person. But some just suddenly found out that, oh, I mean, I'm hooked with the wrong person. And so they have problem already, mental health problems. So I went on this until I went to intercultural studies, because presently my research work is on how culture affects people's mental health. You know, how culture affects people's mental health. So this has been my work all through, and I just found that everything about people. Look at religion, for instance. Religion is a subset of culture. When you pick people's culture, you're talking about so many things: what they eat, how they dress, where they live, and the rest of it. So all of these have affected my relationship with people. You know, I told you initially, I said I just love people. That is my problem. I just want to see, how do I add value to people's lives? How do people smile? How do people continue to live? And so at the end of certain therapies, a woman called me this week and she was telling me something. I said, yes, that was why I cut you off, actually, because I found out that you want to die and I don't want to be a party to your death, you know. So she said, no, I should not run away from her. I said, fine. Because so there are several of these that has actually affected my career path. So when I meet people, I tell them, oh, I'm multifaceted. A lot of things have affected the way I see the world. And that's my perspective, because of the various places I've cut my teeth. And so going back to our Japa issue, in relation to this, like this afternoon, I've spoken to a number of young people that are moving out of this country, and so called me, here's my letter, I've come, I'm going, and this one, how far with your letter, and this. And one thing I'm looking at them as they go. One major thing is you will find a number of them. One of the speakers spoke about empathy. You see a number of them moving out, and they will say, I can't go. What I've got now, I can't go with a child. I can't go with my husband or something like that. Now you begin to look at it. How does it look? How does it feel? How could they, relate this with that? And I'll say, no, why not go with your husband? Because he's going to help you over there. Your work you are going to do over there would not allow you. 20 hours is what you have to work, and so on and so forth. Now, it's really affecting the way I'm shaping what they are going over there to do. Some of them, all they want to go and do there is they just want to go and say, okay, what can we do for our country, Nigeria? Because that's another aspect of it. When we look at it so deeply, yes, if you've traveled to a number of the places in the world, Nigerians get to parts of the world and they behave well. It's only at home that Nigerians don't behave well. It's not because the laws are not there, but because, and it's not because we're naturally lawless. Our culture does not give way to lawlessness, but because we see people that have refused to keep the law and they're in the places of leadership, we tend to decide and say, okay, let's follow the wagon. I think it was Mr. Wahid or somebody was talking about the zebra crossing. That I tried stepping on the zebra crossing and nobody stopped for me. And I laughed when he said it, because nobody, in fact, do you know this doesn't happen in various parts of the world? I've been to some countries in which, look at Dubai, for instance. vehicles normally will just stop when they get over there. And not only Dubai, several parts of the world, even the Western world, they will just step on it. They know that somebody is crossing. In fact, you are waiting already, they can see you. And so they will step. And so you walk as you wish. Nobody is rushing you. Just go. So when you look at this, I'm looking at it. How does our culture, how do we come back home to now reorientate our people? Because I found out that our people going to other parts of the world, they get there to behave well. You just look at our nurses. When you find a nurse in a British hospital or any hospital at all, and she's a Nigerian or is a Nigerian, oh my God, come and say courtesy. Why? Because this person is in a place he feels, if I misbehave, something happens to me. But what happens to us back home? Yes. So my work on these people is, how do we, when we come back home, what do we do to our people? What do we tell them we're doing? Because we're looking at beyond Japan now. What do we tell them that we're doing? How do we see people as a nurse, for instance? You see, all those sort of things you find, but you don't find them out there. When they come back home, we want to organize programs in hospitals for hospital workers and say, how should an hospital worker behave to normal human beings? How should a care worker, a caregiver rather, how should they behave to people? Because you see, most of what we have that we see, it's because our people have technically lost our culture, lost our sanity, lost what makes us a people, lost what makes us to be interested in that word that man mentioned, empathy. We've lost that fairness. We talk about equality and we lose equity. We don't see equity. We talk about equality, and that makes us many a time to derail from it. So as people are moving out, yes, many of them are young people. They want to go to all of those places they want to go, but we are telling them, you are coming back, or you are calling back home. Because like as this program is, we want to feature some of them and say, tell our people what is happening. Tell our people how better we can have a new Nigeria. Tell our people how our country could be like this. Tell our people it's not money. We're talking about politics now. In a few days, we should be going to the presidential election. Tell our people how should it work? But the challenge is this. When you tell somebody, Emma Gbowunye, don't collect the money, but vote for your conscience. Several places I've been, you see people telling you, please don't tell us that. We are going to collect the money, but we will vote for whomsoever we want to vote for. that is another aspect of it, because we can't talk about the economics of a country without the politics of the country. So you look at this, how it is, the governance. Look at what we have in Osun State as it is. You are going to see a lot of, I don't want to go into whether it's manipulation or whatever. It's not my business for this subject, but we are looking at this. How does what our people do, how do we uphold what our culture is? Now when you look at cases of ritual killing, you find young people even in secondary school getting involved in ritual killing. When he gets this money, sir, ask the boy, do go, and if you bother to take the clips of people that have been caught with somebody's head or somebody's arm or somebody's whatever, ask them, what do you want to use this money for? He wants to japa. He needs money to go. You just take time to go through the clips, you will be dazed. So this tells you, in the bid to do certain of all of these things we want to do, moving out of the country, it has that mentality that we want to go has eroded our cultural values. It has affected our mind. It has affected our psyche. It has even affected the older people. I saw a video of a woman. She was telling the son that she's not interested in the car that the son brought. I don't know if it was a skit or it was a real life story. And the son was like, Mama, you are mad. And the friends of the son was, Mama, your son. He said, no, what job was he doing? That is somebody who is still keeping the value. And I tell you, we need to get this down to our people if we're going to have a better country, and if we're actually going to make the people, because someone mentioned something there. He said some of the lecturers that even went over there, did they take up lecturing job? No. Was it better for them there? I don't want to talk about that. I don't know. But we would look at it. That person could have just said, okay, I make maybe he's making 12 or 15 pounds per hour or 20 pounds per hour, and that is what he will be thinking about. And said, oh, how much does my job at home, how much does it give me? It goes into looking at that. So it doesn't concern him. And sincerely, I wouldn't blame anybody. But the point is, getting down beyond Japa, we want to see a better country in which our people come up to talk to her. I mean, come to talk to people back home. This is what happens there. This is how culturally behaved those people are. Somebody have said something. Pack everybody in New York or pack everybody in UK, Birmingham, anybody in pack anybody anywhere. Let them come down here and pack people down here there. He said when they get up there, they will see destroyed. Even though I don't agree, but whichever way, our cultural values have to be upheld. And how that gets upheld is going back, helping the new generation that are moving there. They're learning one or two things there, helping them to realize these are the things. And may I also make an allusion to the Ifa corpus? Sorry, I'm a religious person. Yes, the Ifa corpus. If you bother to look at the various essay, of the Ifa corpus, you are going to see several stories. And what are these stories telling us? They're telling us about the Yoruba culture. They're telling us about stories about how we should not be greedy, stories about how we should think about home, stories about how we should not cheat, stories about how we should do something as if a camera was there watching you, and the rest of that. So my word is, as we're looking at this beyond Japa, we're looking at how do we reset? How do we reset our people back to what our people used to be? What is our story 100 years ago? Because if we're going to be talking about beyond Japa, yes, a lot of people will not come back home. Forget it. No, a lot of people will not come back home. But the issue is, even if they are there, what are they sending back home? Yeah, what are they sending back home? What values are they sending back home? They need to be sending some things back home. I've seen, a lot of toys that sing, a lot of toys from China that sing our Yoruba songs to children over there. Of course, in the US now, you know how much you pay to put your child to learn Yoruba. Is unfortunate. Now, but all of these, what are our people sending back home? They need to be sending those things back home. What have they learned? I think that should be another thing. What have they learned? And how do we get this thing back to the grassroots? Because I want to deceive you, sir. Yes, I know you want me to be rounding off. Now, see, whether we like it or not, yes, all what we're talking about boils down to the grassroots. It boils down to the grassroots. Everybody has a village. Every village has a city. Our people, as we Japa, those lessons learned, we need to glean them. And how do we pass them to the grassroots? That we need to be a people that are better off than what we have now. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. I know that being a pastor and also opening up the idea of what your career path is like and what you have done actually led to this very discussion. Because we are so passionate about okay, what value can individual have had to the society and had to himself, and some sort of those things. And that was the reason why you were so long in that very conversation, and it has been very useful, very useful thoughts that you have put together, and really appreciated. So I think our scholars, Sokunbi has been able to answer partly the journey of scholarship and also fellowship and experience in the earlier conversation. But I would like to actually focus on being president of Nigerian scholars in Germany. You have gave an overview that it is a broad-based professional and a high-profile network that has so many people, but drawing from what our scholar Wahid Adebayo said and Pastor Ayo Kelano, yes, you are in a very right position to set things right for the scholars in Germany now. And that is the dimension I would like you to actually look at this very question. Just talk briefly about your experience so far. You have mentioned that very challenging, but navigating through to actually see what can be done. How best do you think that the scholar in the diaspora can impact back, as Pastor Ayo Kelan has said, impact back into what is happening in Nigeria? That is number one. I want to draw a very reference that somebody that learned machine learning or machine language or something in the diaspora can actually design something for Yoruba learning. Actually design something that can be useful back home for people to actually make things easier. So that is a kind of the idea that I can quickly refer to. So what do you think can be done and how?
Yeah.
And the wrap-up advice for the people that are in the diaspora on one skill or scholarship or fellowship to actually impact back into the country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know if we want to take the from Benjamin at APC, if there's a question.
Yes, I will take him later. I have recognized him too since I see his hand. I just want us to conclude this very round so that we can open for
about that. Honestly, this is a very passionate conversation for me anyway, for a lot of reasons. So the Nigerian scholars in Germany, as I mentioned earlier, is a scholarly body for Nigerians, you know, and our tenets are just very direct. Number one, if you look at our website, nisig.de, nisig.de, one of the things we're so particular about is, if you read it, one of our tenets is, how do we give back to our own country? How do we develop that place? We can't say that we want to help them to grow or develop Germany. We would only add value here. You know, of course we can, but if you look at the magnitude of what we can do in Germany and Nigeria, which needs it the most, which is Nigeria, obviously. So this is like one of the things we do. And at the same time, we also offer relevant support for our scholars here in Germany in different areas, their welfare, you know, and the reality is different. Nigeria, you can up on a bus, you can talk to even driver, the conductor, you can, our culture is completely different. But here's a place you have an experience as well. You enter the bus, you don't even talk to, you know, so a lot of things that we offer, mental health, like Dr. Ayo Kelan said, talking about mental health, talking about navigating career here, talking about giving back to Nigeria as well. Yeah, so coming to how we can give back, it's a lot. I'll cite an instance and I'll relate it to this Japa thing we're talking about. I always tell people, like, when it comes to Japa, Nigeria, people abroad, one thing we need to understand is this: you can't fix others without fixing yourself. You can't offer people what you do not have. For everyone here, there's a level we got to, like Dr. Yokelano said, a lot of people will tie scarf. You think they are okay. It's because you had something to offer. That's why you could fix those things. By the time they get into sessions with you, you analyze their problem, you help them out and whatnot. And currently, I would try to link it to something. I have a lot of scholars. I know a lot of scholars doing different things in Nigeria, giving back to the society. But one of the challenges as well, when you take it to grassroots, is in some instances, government policies are not helping. I have to be direct with this. I'll give you a couple of examples. People that want to start business, I'll take it from government. The ease of doing business is something we talk about a lot. You see, people in diaspora want to do business, want to set up something, but the policies are not helping. The policies are not there. I have a first-hand experience. You go to different government agencies. For a company you just want to register, they'll be telling you need to pay certain amount. You know? Of course, we're not talking about registering at CCAC or whatever. We're talking about when it comes to the likes of ITF, in industrial training, they'll be telling you pay certain amounts to get the certificate. A company you just registered that you've not even done anything. And even working with people, trust is completely missing. And all these things, like Dr. Ayo said, It starts from the family. The family is the smallest unit in the society. We are not civil as a people again. Trust. Now, a child is into Yahoo, even the parents are happy. A lot of scholars are doing great things. Currently, one of my own focus is about primary school enrollment. And I felt like, okay, see, what can we do? Teamed up with a couple of friends. And basically what we're doing is, being a development economist, I'm not about school enrollment. I'm about quality education as well. Now we pick people that are in need. We have a team that helps with that. Children that do not have access to education, and then we put them in school. We don't want the parents to bother about paying their tuition fees, about textbooks, about uniforms. That's one of the ways of giving back. Impact assessment. Okay, what is the situation with this child? How is he or she performing? It's not only about, oh, we've paid the school fees, we've done it. We are monitoring these things. If some people in diaspora are doing that in education, Nigeria, we say we are close to 40 million out of school children. What are we saying about our future? We are heading towards our doom. Let's be sincere. This is not about religion here. It's crazy. If some people are concentrating on school enrollment, primary school education, this is the least that we can do. Some people could also focus on something. In 2020, I started a research. It's something everyone will be familiar with. They call it Ausbildung in Germany. What are our polytechnics doing? NUC issues approval for creation of new universities. What is the standard? What is the capacity of the current universities? You say that, okay, we import everything from China. What is the role of technical educations and polytechnics? These are the
production
that
and economy of the country.
Exactly. These are the engine. If you develop this area, it's easier. You understand? People will look at, okay, these are places we can explore. People could invest. I did this research personally. In fact, I was just thinking like, wait, are we even okay at all? You don't need to import everything. They'll tell you Germany is just catching up gradually with technology, and it's the reality. So a lot of things people in diaspora are doing, are willing to do, and that I know of. Recently, I know of a brother. He studied mathematics, and when it comes to AI, ML, these are his forte. He's doing well, organizes session for people in Nigeria, tell them what they can. But people like this, where do you want them to apply themselves? It's in the industries. And at the same time, we also need our private sectors. Everybody sees it as business as usual. It's easier for people. Of course, I know it's business. People can spend a lot of time on Big Brother Nigeria. People can, even Nigeria as a country, honestly, I'll say it's not only about the government, it's about the people as well. If it takes government decades to fix library in Abuja, for instance, but if you go across street, you see fish joints everywhere. Yeah. Dr. Wai said something about empathy. Some people prefer to go to a joint, spend money on fish, go to the club. These things, they do it in different societies as well. But until we understand the urgency of our situation as a people, it's not only the government, but the people as well. Private sector, individual citizens, we need to come together. And until we fix this, understand these nuances, I don't think we're going anywhere. Honestly, it's so sad. It's so sad. Recently, there's an issue. The team were trying to pay tuition fee for some kids. And then they said the headmaster of the school said they paid tuition fee to his account in a government-owned primary school.
That's serious.
That one now, is it government? The headmaster is a normal person, is an individual, a citizen. You tell them to pay money into your school, that's how it is done. At every level, at every strata, we have corruption. It has eaten so deep to the extent that, for me, I don't think it's just government. I would always say that. People can come with different perspectives, but it starts from the people. Leadership is the outcome of the society and vice versa, right? Fine. And if they've taken us to this level, then what do? Then we need to start doing something differently. We shouldn't contribute to it, but it's not everyone that is seeing it like that. Everyone sees every opportunity to embezzle, to cheat, to steal as an opportunity to make a fortune, not thinking of the consequences. Now, sorry, I'll wrap up now. Those kids, they've not been able to fix them in school because, yeah, we need to get to the crux of the matter. Why is it that the headmaster wants to take school fees in his personal account? Why? So I'll just in conclusion, there's a lot scholars are doing, honestly. And one of the things we're working on in Nigeria and scholars in Germany is we do our own research as well. One of our projects, CSR, that is coming up soon enough is CSR in terms of drug abuse. It's alarming among secondary pupils in Nigeria. Drug abuse. Society is not doing enough. And we can't leave it to civil society organizations enough. As much as we blow the trumpet, we preach the message, we also need to get people on board. Back then, we see clubs, little clubs doing different things. But now, where are these things? Even secondary school children wants to drive a Mercedes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow. I can see that you are fully, let me say, loaded with thoughts, and you are trying to manage how you pour them out. And yes, if you have risen to a certain level, a lot of them will be bothering your mind, and you would like to actually reflect and share them. So quickly before our scholar, Dr. Wahid Adebayo, I think, yes, I can be corrected for that. Well, before he will give us the wrap up on that, I will take the comment from scholar Benjamin Adebisi. You are welcome on this session again. We started it together in the first episode. So here we are, beyond Japa scholarship and fellowship.
Is this the final episode? Is this the final episode?
Final episode for this topic.
I want to appreciate your consistency and, the scholars that have contributed, and I want to appreciate everybody. That's all, because you spoke all, since we've been talking, there have been everything has been just dissipated. So I appreciate your consistency and position. You have the scholars have spoken, implementation echelon, and you understand that a lot of them have been out there. They have their families there. They know how things work there. But unfortunately, they find it difficult to put things into place, basically because of bureaucracy. You understand what I mean? This is how things are done here, which will not favor anything. Virtual learning, you know quite well that we've been into that even before COVID, it wasn't implemented. We understood a lot about how things should be done when it comes to administrative setup, when it comes to meeting. This is what we're doing. We are not even in the same continent, and all of us are together on the seat. We are dissipating ideas and things are working, but because of the bureaucratic process, number one, we cannot implement things. So how do we now get things done? We have the right ideas. Nobody travels anywhere in the world and just sits back there. As a matter of fact, I have issues with the weather, I have issues with the food, I have issues with even relating with people there. So I prefer my home country. But we quite know that almost every country in this world, in fact, let's start with the greatest country in the world, United States of America, borrow ideas. They travel, they gather ideas, they come back to their own countries. Some people, in fact, there was a professor, she came to Ife. studied Yoruba, and returned back. She didn't come to Ife to stay back in Nigeria. She came to Ife to study and go back. So when you travel overseas, you come back. When I went to Denmark, I saw a lot of things. When I was in France, I saw a lot of things. When I was in Netherlands and Germany, I saw a lot of things. And I was ready to bring it back. In fact, I spoke a lot I do in my own little amount. But was it implemented? No, because of the bureaucracy. You have to belong to this class. You have to follow this process. And this is what some people want. Some people are just there. You understand what I mean? Sitting back and want to milk every idea. I'm not about the millions. I'm about implementation. I'm about how many people I could help. Do you understand what I mean? So this is what we are talking about. Implementation. I don't know who wins next week. But will that person have that right mind to bring people like us up? If you, Dr. Adebisi, you quite know, and they quite know that if you speak all this, a proposal will be presented to the federal government, they will take a lot of money and they will not be able to implement it. Except Yoruba people say, except people like you. And the last speaker, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, the presidents in Germany and all that for Nigerian students, except people like you are at the forefront. Like during the COVID, we step aside while the minister in charge of infectious disease will come up and speak. Except people like you in this panel are in that position to implement things because you know what it is. You know the steps to make, you know the right contact to make things work. It will not work. Because if you write a proposal, they will only submit the proposal. I know some of the ideas I brought, we got in hundreds of millions of naira into the sector without anything being done because they don't know how things should be done. They only use that to make, and I'm tired. I'm tired of being used. And you know quite well that I've pulled out from such. I am tired of being used. I want my country to be better. I am telling you the area view of Okebale as of yesterday, it's even more expensive than that of Jani because you see a lot of cars in Okebale that you never even see in major cities in Germany. I showed the outside environment of one of the best universities in Netherlands where I was, and that of Uni Osun. We have better architectural work. You know, they use old buildings. We have better cars. We have better offices. I have an office to myself. I don't have an office to myself in the Netherlands. Then that's what I'm talking about. So I want to make things happen in this country. But the bureaucracy doesn't make things get implemented. So I have to raise my hands. And except I stand there, I cannot sit at the back of someone and be speaking to the ears. I have to be on the podium. I have to work with people like you to say, this is how things work. I have to speak. I can't be speaking on behalf of people that would not recognize me. And I cannot be speaking on the position of another person. I have brought virtual learning. I brought several sorts of that. But I cannot speak on the platform of someone sitting on the position for innovation and be implementing ideas. So thank you very much. You understand what I'm talking about. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I want to just corroborate or back what you are just explaining now with one of our guests that we had in the second episode. Dr. Mike is currently in the USC now. He says the same thing that scholar Benjamin Adebisi just said, that he brought an idea from his, I think, doctoral studies or research. And right in his presence, we is supposed to have access or have the opportunity to implement that very idea. They invited another maybe professional or expert from outside the country to come and do the job. So that very person was somehow disappointed or so that since I went outside to go and learn and I am available here to do it for you, and you went outside to go and hire another person to come and do it for you with a whole lot of money that is not even, if you want to do it, cannot maybe cost that much. So the guy check out back to US because to go and have some other fellowship, and he is currently doing fine there now. So I think that is part of what Scholar Benjamin is talking about. People have different ideas submitted to the different ministry department and the rest like that. But what about the implementation? I think that would be the discussion for another day. So I will just take the wrap up of a minute or 2 minutes from high scholar Wahid Adebayo, sir. I think you can give us the wrap up comment about this very episode, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Saeed, and thank you, Dr. Adebisi, and thank you. I see two Adebisi here. Thank you, Benjamin Adebisi, also. It's been a very lively conversation, and if we continue, we could continue for like a year saying the same set of things. And to buttress your point, yeah, the bureaucracy, but like I said in my statement there, democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Since 1960, we've been complaining of bad leadership, and it just gets from bad to worse all the time. When we say it in Yoruba, when the next person comes, you see that you will now say Buhari was better in some aspects. That's what we've been doing. And as you always say, the problem is it's our character. Bad behavior is in our culture. We've inculcated bad characters. And at the end of the day, Mr. Sokombi will know what I'm saying. They say why some nations are rich or why are some nations wealthy in economics. And you start seeing that some they will tell you that it's because there are institutions. And what are institutions? There are laws. People must obey those laws. In Nigeria, we obey law. Even those of us who claim to be different from the other people, we, in some way, we are always supporting or even sabotaging the system without we knowing. So me, I'm saying that if we don't change our character, we will always get the bad people into government. These people never become bad when they get into government. They've been bad before. So it's just that we need to change our cultural outlook to things. As for going out and coming back, it might be difficult, like somebody already said, for everybody to come back. Probably it will be 10%, 20% that will come back. But I don't think it's necessary for us to even come back to be able to develop our country. People like me have been running around Germany, going to Germany and coming back, spending 6 months in Germany, spending 6 months in Nigeria for the past 7 or 8 years. And I think it's okay for me, but I think I'm able to contribute a lot with that. And I also have people I talked to in Germany, we went to school together, who were doing projects at some level. I would advise that instead of tapping into government for projects, we should also be looking at private ventures and private interventions. I've been building a cassava app in Germany since 3 years ago with the support of Germans. I just brought that idea to Nigeria in my current work, and they said, oh, we would help you with it. You understand what I mean? But I'm slow about it. The organization where I work currently, they are giving 6 applications by Nigerians. The last one is a medical application by a doctor based in America. We've been working on that app at the private level to develop this idea of making medical records available across hospitals. So you can go to another hospital and they just pull up your medical records online, digitally, without you having to go somewhere. So it's an initiative from a doctor in America. So these are some of the things some of us are doing at the private level that I think will be work and always change the system. I have an idea, and that idea is that if you put structure in place, those structures will affect the way we think and the way we behave, and we can have a better Nigeria. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Wow. Thank you so much. I think this is synchronizing. Yeah. Ideas is not a problem for the scholars to actually render or provide or even service any government agency or system or sector, but the implementation are how they absorb it. Thank you so much, sir. And Pastor Ayo Okelana, what do you have to say as the wrap up for this departure on the episode 3 of the Diaspora syndrome discussion?
I am overwhelmed. I must say I appreciate everyone, starting from you. And it's been great. I want to say as a civil society person that I would love to meet more of those great things Dr. Wahab Adebayo is doing. Because the way he's talking, I think he's doing a lot of things that has to do with the grassroots people. And
exactly.
he's talking about Benue. Benue is in the northeast. We want to feel more of this impact in the southwest as well. And for Dr. Said Shokumbi too, we want to feel you more also in this part of the world. A lot of things are happening. The CBOs would like to work with you, and they will want to be able to see how much can we do to be able to help our people. Actually, people are our greatest assets, and the more we invest into them, the more we could have back. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, before I take scholars, I on the last note, Latifa, you have been with us since the beginning, and from the first episode, do you have anything to add, or you have anything to say? Then Anisat, Infinix HO, do you have anything to say or to add? Yeah. Hello, do you have anything to add or to say?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir. Just to appreciate our guests, they really talk so much and enlighten us the more. And we really appreciate them all. May God continue to be with us and make our country a good one also, so that everybody can thrive and become whatever we plan for, and make us best of the country that people will still wish to come and live as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anisat, yes. What's your remark? What's your comments? Hello, are you there? Are you there? Anisat?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Well done. We really appreciate the episodes and all the ones that have been done. We look forward more to have a more enlightening and informative program. That's just my submission. Well done, sir, and well done to our guests and all the speakers.
Thank you so much. Let me state for record that I just like my usual self, I sent invitation to scholars Aisukubi and also dear uncle scholar Waid Adebayo. Just a brief introduction, and they embraced this very discussion. We would like to thank you so much for that very welcoming and participative interaction that we have had. And let me also state that another idea came up to actually take this very discussion forward. We are planning to actually produce the Japa Syndrome magazine from the host platform, the Scholar Media Interaction. So we are going to produce the scholars, the Japa Syndrome magazine, whereby we are going to narrate the episode 1, the episode 2, and the episode 3 of it that we are wrapping up today. And also we are going to feature the profile of all the guests. We have had till now 14 guests. So we are going to take their career profile, their personal history, background, and also what they have been able to do and their motivation for the aspiring scholars and career professionals. So we are going to take it in that very magazine. And what is going to be the modality, we are going to work it out, and we are going to share it with everyone that has participated in this very Japa Syndrome discussion and beyond. So that is another dimension we are taking it, because the videos, many people, as they would like to watch the videos, many people would like to have the text, which is will be in form of the hard copy. So we are taking it to that level, and we will carry everybody along. And let me take the final and the wrap up work from scholar Sahid Sokumbi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Sahid Adebisi, my namesake. So apparently a lot has been said, and it's been interesting, honestly, being part of this kind of conversation is something I really like. Yeah, I'm so passionate about conversations like this. And just one thing I would advise is perhaps you can broaden this, honestly, within our learning institutions, and these are the kind of conversations that people should be conversant with. Information is key. A lot of people don't have that information, and with the level of things now, ignorance is not even an excuse. It's not, again. So we need to make sure we put the words out there, and at the same time, we should continue to be the good citizens of Nigeria wherever we are, and to wrap it up, adding value wherever it is we are. I encourage every one of us to keep that up. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you so much, and we can on our video to say goodbye to ourselves now as we close this very session. So thank you so much, and this is how we come to the end of the Diaspora Freedom discussion, episode 3. So we are going to update us on the further discussions, and when our attention is needed for further interaction and contribution, we are going to reach out to us. Thank you so much, and God bless.
All right, thank you. Bye.